Welcome to Facts TV News, where everything is true.
Retired policewoman perishes in house fire in Hanover. Police High Command expressing condolences to the family. An elderly woman perished in a house fire in Hopewell, Hanover this morning. She has been identified as 89-year-old Eleanor Nesbitt, a retired assistant superintendent of police. Public Relations Officer at the Jamaica Fire Brigade, Emilia Evans, told reporters that at about 5:15 a.m., the St. James Fire Department received a call about the fire and responded with 2 units and an ambulance.
One of the fire units is from Hanover. On arrival at the location, we came across a 12-apartment structure, concrete and zinc structure that was on fire. We were told that there's a possibility that an elderly female is on the inside, and when the firefighting was at a stage where we could enter to start to carry out rescue operations, we came across the body of an elderly female. We presently have investigators on scene trying to ascertain the cause of the fire, and the damage is estimated at $40 million. The risk is $45 million.
Meanwhile, the Police High Command is expressing condolences to the family of retired ASP Nesbitt. In a statement, the Jamaica Constabulary Force said ASP Nesbitt gave sterling service to the police of Jamaica for over 33 years. It added that she joined the constabulary in November 1960 and was posted in St. Elizabeth. She was later transferred to the St. James Division, where she served up to the time of her retirement. Investigations are ongoing into the circumstances which started the fire. 14-day operation to bring order to chaotic Montego Bay starts. Montegonians woke up Monday morning to a raft of changes in the tourism capital Montego Bay, as several government agencies in collaboration with the security forces tried to bring order to a town in chaos. Vendors, taxi operators, and other motorists accused of breaching the law by parking in restricted areas and selling in unauthorized locations are among the targets of the drive under the theme Restoring Paradise, a public order reset. The Transport Authority, the St. James Municipal Corporation, the Police Public Safety and Traffic Enforcement Branch, and Jamaica Defense Force soldiers have been out since 6 a.m. The initiative is set to run for 14 days. Montego Bay is the capital of St. James Parish. Orange Bay shooter charged. A man who was shot and injured and a firearm taken from him during a confrontation with the police in Orange Bay, Hanover on Sunday, August 7, has been charged. Charged with assault at common law, shooting with intent and illegal possession of firearm and ammunition, is 21-year-old Marvin Facey, otherwise called Prince, of Santoy District in the parish. Reports are that about 9:45 p.m., Facey allegedly opened fire at a police team. During the gunfight, he was shot and injured, and one Hayward Steam 9mm pistol with a magazine containing 16 9mm cartridges taken from him. He was taken to hospital for treatment. The court date is being arranged. MP calling for one laptop or tablet per child initiative expansion. As the start of the new academic year approaches, Member of Parliament for Kingston East and Port Royal Philip Paulwell is calling on the government expansion of its one laptop or tablet per child initiative. He says now more than ever, the need for technological support is greater to assist with further development.
I'm going to appeal that this effort be not diminished now that students are back in classes. Computers are not only useful for remote learning, but in fact they are necessary, essential tools for ongoing learning, to do homework, to do research, and so on. A student cannot survive in this age without access to computer, without ready access to computer. So I'm urging the government, rather than curtailing, rather than stemming that drive, to enlarge it so that every single student in Jamaica has access to a computer. We expect that we will have to enlarge this amount going forward, and we will be doing that. We will also be doing our usual book vouchers, and we will be spending another $2 million for book vouchers. There are some needy families. Many of them are not registered on the PATH program. We have seen that number enlarge significantly over last year into this year. My hope is to be able to assist every single one of them. And so rather than giving large grants to the first comers, we are in fact ensuring that we can share the funds sufficiently so that everybody can get something from the pool of resources that we have.
CMOC approves ncvp recommendations. The Crime Monitoring Oversight Committee, CMOC, says a recent report published by the National Commission of Violence Prevention, ncvp, provides focused recommendations that allow the broadening and deepening of its monitoring framework. It says it bolsters the work of CMOC, and in that regard, it is welcoming the report. CMOC says the guidance from the ncvp was specifically identified as a deliverable to the CMOC pillar of social, community, and cultural transformation. It says the report serves as evidence of the positive progress of the Commission. CMOC Chairman Lloyd Distant says the report was eagerly anticipated as it hones in on several areas mentioned in the consensus agreement. He says he is pleased to see this progress. Going forward, CMOC says it intends to turn its attention to the additional areas that require a more granular focus and an ultimate goal of ensuring all parties play their part in overcoming violence. Last month, President of the Jamaica Confederation of Trade Unions, JCTUC, Helen Davis White, told reporters that there is no longer a sense of enthusiasm on the national consensus of crime. He said the initial enthusiasm was waning.
There are mixed signals, and although CMOC meets regularly on a monthly basis and all the stakeholders are represented on CMOC, you still get a sense that there is not the total support and involvement. Some of us feel that maybe because we are a couple of years in and some of the enthusiasm may have worn off, and so this is one of the reasons why we believe that you need to recalibrate. So that's part of the thing, that you get a sense that there may be less enthusiasm than was there at the beginning.
However, Information Minister Robert Morgan had disagreed with the stakeholders that targets in the national consensus on crime are not being prioritized.
I don't know if we should go on one end of the spectrum saying that they have not been prioritized. The fight against crime is not a private fight, it's a public fight. And you yourself would have seen actions by the government, some of which agreed by consensus nationally. Some of them, like the SOEs, are not agreed by consensus. But there have been significant efforts in terms of reforming the police force. You see where we're moving away from the physical books in police stations to now the electronic recording.
Todd's president welcomes rural relief grant. President of the Transport Operators Development Sustainable Services TODS, Mr. Newman, is welcoming the government's move to now allow operators who renew their road license up to August this year to be able to access the $25,000 fuel relief grant. Prior to this, only operators with road license issued no later than April 30 this year were eligible for the grant. Mr. Newman says this is a step in the right direction.
We are pleased with that. We think the government is listening to us now, listening to our cries, because one of the reasons why we couldn't pay before is because of our type of pandemic in the system that allows us not to be able to pay. And I'm happy that a change of heart, a change of mind in the Ministry of Finance has allowed this to happen. If you notice that the minister has been saying 3,600 persons are eligible, he has been saying this for the last 2.5 months. And why? The reason why that the other persons are unable to get through on the portal to claim for that $25,000. Hundreds of persons are unable to get on, and we don't know the reason why. And so it is of concern to us that although the date is extended, persons still can't get on.
Former PNP president disappointed at slow social progress in Jamaica. Former PNP president and leader of the opposition, Dr. Peter Phillips, is expressing disappointment at the slow pace of social progress made in the country over the last 50 years. The PNP veteran made the observation while addressing party faithful in his East Central St. Andrew constituency at the weekend. Dr. Phillips says the country has failed to live up to its promise in security, economic growth, and education over the last 4 decades.
If I am to be honest, in 1970 when I was leaving university, I thought we as a people would have accomplished much more than we have. That's just the truth. And I think that we have to acknowledge those truths. Jamaica today, in the Caribbean, has the worst crime situation of the entire Caribbean. Jamaica today has a lower per capita income today, 2022, than we had in 1970. And we are leaving each year more than 50% of our children behind in the race for a good education. And in mobilizing the people, we were even willing to engage with those who opposed us politically. And I believe we have to acknowledge now that the solutions to the problems of our country requires us to be as bold, as forthcoming, as open, as engaged with the entire Jamaican population, including labor rights, so that we can move forward. So hear me now. It is because I love the People's National Party why I'm saying to East Central and to anyone who will listen to my voice, support the party leader if you wish the party well. And before the cynics start to chat and say this and that, let me say that I know personally how difficult it is to manage a party with all kinds of tendencies and factions wanting to move this way and that. And I know further that it is impossible to succeed if there is organized opposition to the party and its leadership within the party.
Please remember to subscribe, like, share, and click the notification bell